Arsenal 5, Crystal Palace 0. The Gooners return in absolute style. They smash 5 past Palace. They go within 2 points of the top of the league, and just 2 points separates first place from fourth place. And this was everything Arsenal fans' hearts desired, everything that they craved, everything that they wanted today. A little nervy to begin with, but their fans, the Emirates singing absolutely behind them. Huge support. They get those 2 goals from set pieces from Gabriel, Magalhaes, and then Trossard, and a late brace from Martinelli give them the all-important 3 points in this game. They close the gap on Liverpool. They apply the pressure on Liverpool. They start, maybe this is the beginning, they start to score the goals that will put them firmly back into this title race. A lot of people had written them off, and Arsenal looked more serious today. Arsenal looked more potent today. They looked focused. That warm weather break, that international break seems to have served them very, very well indeed. They've worked on their set pieces. Defensively, they worked on their game. Yes, you look at the stats and see that Crystal Palace had a number of shots, but they were pop shots. They were not real, genuine opportunities. A few decent efforts from range. A good free kick from Eza was decent. I always said Eze, and I heard the commentators today saying Eza. So if anyone wants to clarify that for me, please help. I don't want to get his name wrong. I've always said Eze. Today I heard Eza. Either way, a brilliant free kick from him. But this was an absolute demolition. An absolute demolition job. Someone here saying Eza. Yeah, I heard the commentator saying that today. Demolition job in all intents and purposes from Arsenal. And they got better as the game went on. There's no doubt about it. They became more relaxed. I think they got that monkey off their back. That pressure that was surrounding them, because the last 4 to 5 weeks have really been poor. Have really been poor for them. 1 win in the 7 games. I think they felt the pressure. They felt the frustration from the fans. But they returned today. They laid down the gauntlet, said, we're not going anywhere. We are in this title race. And there was some fears, really, that they might get a bad result today. There were some fears that Arsenal may not come through this. And they absolutely did. Now, in terms of breaking this game down, look, I think the whole way through was dominated by Arsenal. Dominated the possession, dominated the territories of the football pitch. But Crystal Palace came to stink the house down. They came to sit back, be resolute, to be hard to break down. They wanted to make it difficult for Arsenal. Every minute that went by, they knew that the pressure would mount against this Arsenal team. The fans would become frustrated. They knew that Arsenal needed to win. So they came in with a plan to stink the place out. But as I said, Arsenal remained very, very serious, very together. In recent weeks, they've had some defensive mishaps. Today, the centre-back pairing of Saliba and Gabriel was absolutely top draw. They bullied Arteta, absolutely bullied him. He didn't get a single sniff. He didn't win a single. Statistically, he may, but watching it with your naked eye, I don't think he won a single duel. He never really had them in danger. They never got isolated. So defensively today, I thought Arsenal were back to their very, very best indeed. And then they scored from the set pieces. Some very well-worked set pieces, some wonderful crosses into the box. Some people kind of play down the necessity, really, to have good free kicks, to have these good moments from set pieces. And I've not really understood that in recent years. But it gave Arsenal that comfort blanket. It gave Arsenal that security in this game to be a little more aggressive. It gave them an opportunity to be a little more proactive in their approach. And they did that far better in the second half. Before the excellent goal from Trossard, he should have scored a few minutes earlier, but he missed his shot. And I reckon there were some feelings going around Arsenal fans. I know I was certainly looking at it as a neutral, going, could this be a day where they create another 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chances, but don't take them? Could they walk away with a win, but not a performance, not a victory that really boosts that confidence, that really sends a message? Because they needed to send a message today. That is everything rival fans said on our Rumble show that went out this morning, the squad. It's everything Rivals said to us on Straight Facts this week. It's everything Rivals said on the Top 6 show this week. It's everything the Rivals said in the comment sections whole week. Arsenal can't just win. They have to make a statement. And after that Trossard miss, you thought, oh, are they in a bit of trouble here? But they weren't. A few moments later, a brilliant piece of attacking play from Arsenal. Trossard in again. This time, sits a defender down, rounds a goalkeeper, bang, makes it 3-0. And that was all she wrote. And it gave Arsenal an excellent situation where they could take some players off. There is some concern right now about the hamstring of Declan Rice, and I'm sure we'll get onto that later. But what they were able to do from that moment, Arsenal, is play in second gear, reserve some energy for what is probably going to be a very tight, very intense second half of the season and title race. Being able to play in second gear for the last 20 minutes of a game is absolutely priceless at this stage. But then you saw the confidence seeping in to Arsenal. Smith Rowe came on, looked really good on the ball. Martinelli looked dangerous in the beginning. And then towards the end of the game, yes, the final 2 goals were late. Absolutely, they were. But those 2 goals have been coming, not just in this game, but they've been coming for weeks. Especially for Martinelli, these goals have been coming. And for him, I think more so than anybody else in this Arsenal team, to bag those goals at the moment of which he did is absolutely paramount. Absolutely paramount for him to have done that, to get that confidence flowing back through him so he keeps his chin up. It keeps the fans on side. It probably gets a lot of the trolls off of his back on social media because it's a brace. What's that, 4 or 5 goals now for the season, and it puts him into a stronger position. And Arsenal walk off the pitch not only with 3 points, not only closing the gap on City, not only closing the gap on Liverpool, but with a confident performance. And at the moment, I am seeing they're making it an own goal to Dean Henderson. I don't really understand how. Yes, it hit his head on the line, but it was going to go in. Surely that's got to be a brace for Gabriel. But goals for Gabriel, goal for Trossard, who's been struggling for confidence, a brace for Martinelli, assists in there for the likes of Declan Rice and Jesus and everybody else. And it's exactly what the doctor ordered for Arsenal in every single which way. I understand the frustrations of the last few weeks. I understand the criticism that Arsenal fans have put in. But there were gooners only a week or 2 ago saying season's over, title race is done, we won't come back. I've looked at Arsenal's performances and seen 4-0 coached and tactic. I think the team's been coached to, and its performance has warranted 3-4-0 wins, 5-0 wins. But the finishing touch hasn't been there. Today, Arsenal got it. Now, of course, the message has got to be, thank you, well done, let's celebrate, but more of the same. Because Liverpool are going nowhere. Man City are going nowhere. It remains to be seen whether Tottenham and Villa will stay with the pack. We saw last year that Arsenal could stay right towards the end of the season. We know Liverpool and City are going to be there. They've been the best 2 teams in England and 2 of the best teams in the world for the best part of the last 5 to 6 to 7 years. And for me, listen, I thought Arsenal did more today than they thought they would. I thought they would win. I didn't think they would win as convincingly as this. I want to also shout out there's a couple of players and a couple of things I want to shout out today. I thought Zinchenko today, in possession, on the ball in the midfield area, was excellent for Arsenal. I know there's question marks over his defending. I get that. In terms of what he brings on the ball, absolutely brilliant. I also think the fans need a big round of applause today. Fans are so important at every club. And the way the Arsenal fans were behind their players today, the positive atmosphere in the ground, you could hear it before kickoff. I was listening to the first 5 to 10 minutes on the radio, to be fair, because I had my puppy at dog training. So I had to rush back for the game. And you could hear that positive energy. And as I've been saying for the last 3 weeks, when the energy at the Emirates is positive, when the energy is, listen, criticize, yes, but the energy is positive, Arsenal perform better. So overall, a serious display from Arsenal, a top performance, lots of goals. There are areas to still improve on. No one is saying they are the most perfect team in the world. Nobody is saying they're the most dangerous team. No one's saying they're the best team in the world. But a 5-0 win is not to be, absolutely not to be sniffed that. Kate here, actually, Spurs fan. Where's that comment gone? I can't find it now. Where's that comment gone? It says, Arsenal are jokers, win against a crap Palace team, and all of a sudden they are back and going to win the league. I mean, I haven't seen very many comments say that, but listen, Arsenal fans should celebrate. It's a 5-0 win. Why would you not celebrate and be happy with a 5-0 win? I've seen Spurs celebrate draws this season. I've seen Spurs celebrate. I've genuinely seen Spurs celebrate wins against Burnley this year, who are not as good as Palace. Come on, Kate. Stop being so salty. Stop being so salty. I don't get it. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Arsenal are world-class again. It all depends upon your opinion of world-class, Irons. I look at it this way. If you're challenging for the Premier League title, I think by default, at that particular moment in time, makes you one of the best teams in Europe, which makes you one of the best teams in the world. Now, if your standard for world-class is, it doesn't, you could be the best in the world, but not be world-class still because you haven't reached a standard of prior world-class teams, I hear you. That's a debate around what you consider world-class to be. But if you're challenging for the Premier League, if you're going toe-to-toe with City and you're keeping up with them 2 years running, you have to be one of the best teams in Europe. By default, you can't be one of the worst teams in Europe, but keep up with Man City. That doesn't make any sense logically, my friend. It just doesn't. Not in my personal opinion. This here, sorry, Kate, love you, but it's 5-0. Pours of salt is what Mr. Mad Hatter has got to say here. Terry, we are Arsenal as usual, but still we are not stable enough to win the league. And I can understand you saying that. I do think there is often this pursuit of perfection from football fans when it comes to games, and I've never really quite understood it. Genuinely, never really quite understood this notion that I know what's going to happen. We're going to batter and blow away a team, be perfect for 90 minutes, not concede a shot, score all our chances. That's never really going to exist. It's never, even teams, your invincible team didn't do that. They scraped some games. Even the Centurion Man City team scraped some games. You're never going to be perfect all the time. I think seeking that and holding that as the standard week in, week out is only going to make you miserable. That's my personal thought and feeling on that. Thoughts on the Palace fans and their banner? Yeah, look, I understand it. I think Palace fans are disappointed with the way the club has operated, the way the club has run. They want to see a bit more ambition. And look, I think bringing back Roy Hodgson was part of that mistake. I know he's respected there, but they could have gone for a better option. You look at the progression that the Brentfords, the Brightons, etc., making smaller clubs, smaller histories. I think that will frustrate them. And it's not like those clubs have more money than Crystal Palace. So, yeah, I understand where they're coming from when they say that. If Partey's still injured, I want Odegaard, Rice, and Jorginho in midfield. That comes from AMT. Thank you very, very much, bro. I appreciate that massively. Going to bring the panel out soon to have their say on this game, to give us their thoughts and feelings. Terry, that's the weakest Palace side that has played out so far this season. Okay, cool. I mean, so what? So what? You say it's the weakest Palace team. It's not the strongest I've seen them, but still a lot of first-team players in there. Henderson started, Gahey started, Anderson started, Lerma started, Klein started, Mateta. He started at the Eze started, Mitchell started. Andre Ayew would be in the team if he wasn't at AFCON. Is he that good? Elise, yes, he's out injured. He could have made a difference. But are you really telling me if you put Elise back into this team or Ayew back into this team, it would have been a significantly different outcome? Come on now, Daniel. Let's not do that. Let's not talk absolute tosh. Terry, I told you Kate was a fraud panelist on TFT. She's not a fraud. She's just a Spurs fan. Terry, your thoughts on Havertz today? I thought it was okay. If I was giving him a rating out of 10, I'd give him a 6.5 maybe, part of a really good winning team. I didn't think Kai Havertz was amazing. I didn't think he was poor. Just thought he had a good game, if I'm being honest. I thought he had a good game. So, yeah, nothing to write home about, but nothing to be angry about today, in my personal opinion. Yo, the second half of the season is going to be interesting, Terry. Dubai training camp paying off. Yeah, so far, look, the second half is going to be amazing. You've got 4 teams separated by 2 points until Liverpool play tomorrow. You've got Spurs who are there and everybody keeps writing them off. They win the next 2 or 3 games and suddenly who knows what can happen. It's going to be an amazing end to the season. And as I said, kind of don't want City to run away with it, but I hope Liverpool drop points tomorrow. Not because I'm a Man United fan, I want Liverpool to lose. I want it to happen so the title race is close between everybody. So yeah, I'd love 3, 4, maybe 5 teams in the title race. Can you imagine the emotion, the drama, the ecstasy? It'll be absolutely out of this world. Arteta's muse here says Smith Rowe needs more game time. Look, I don't think it's a coincidence that he got more game time today when West Ham have made an official approach to them to try and buy him. If you really rate the man you gave the number 10 shirt to, he should be getting far more minutes than he has done. If you really want to keep him for his footballing ability, he's got to start playing more. He got 20 plus minutes today when you look at injury time as well. He needs to start getting that on a regular basis. He needs to start starting some games. For me, a fit Smith Rowe is still better than Kai Havertz. I still have my reservations over him, and that's mainly regarding his fitness, my fitness issue, my fitness concerns about him. But yeah, if you really think he's here to impact Arsenal and make them better, you've got to play the man. You've absolutely got to play the man. Now, Terry, you know the game would have been different if Elise was playing. The score would have been 5-1 probably. But that's just it. Elise is really good, but he wasn't going to go into this game and suddenly make Arsenal not create the chances. He isn't going to make Arsenal's deliveries into the box any worse. Come on now. That's a relatively strong Crystal Palace team. Not the strongest. I'm actually just looking at something now, the preview for this game. Who's missing for Crystal Palace? Let's look at this. Okay, so Crystal Palace have Andre Ayew and Elise missing. Decore as well is out, okay? The rest of the players that are out, I don't think are major first-team players. But Arsenal have Partey out, Timber out, Vieira out, Tomiyasu gone as well. So you could throw 4 first-team stroke integral squad players. It's like for like. That's why I just hate that kind of analysis. I know there's banter, but some people actually believe in it. Not enough open play chances in the 90 minutes. Listen, I think that's a fair criticism. But you scored 3 goals. Trossard should have had another. There was 2 or 3 really good blocks from Jesus and Odegaard shots. So for me, having that abundance of chances, 5 or 6 are in really good positions in the area to score from. I don't know what that looks like on an XG point of view, but I think that's ample against a team that stunk the house out and just played low block. Smith Rowe looked great with Martinelli. Is that a solution? Listen, it could be. He's got a much better passing range than others that play in that role. Arsenal scary videos are back. Let's have it, Tell. But good, convincing win. But more wins, please. Big up those Crystal Palace fans for having the owners looking uncomfortable. Yeah, shout out to them, Manny. Liverpool Red says Arsenal's issue was goals, 5-0 fair play. Welcome back to the title race. I hope fans can start to back the team and we can both push City off the top. Great super chat. I like that. Big up Terry. Amazing talk. Mainstream got nothing. Love from California. We got up 4:30 a.m. to see the game, and the whole family is still listening to your review. Big up the Feldman family over there in California tuning in. Really appreciate that, and that's an early start to the day for you all. But I'm doing the reverse tonight. I'm staying up to watch the UFC, and in fact, I'll probably go to bed then get up because I'm getting old these days at 3 a.m. to watch that. So big up yourselves, and thank you very much for tuning in. That means a huge amount to me. It really does. Time for the panel now, people. We've got Matt, we've got Sard, we've got Steve coming on in just a moment. Sorry, I was just reading something that somebody put into the comment section. I didn't understand it, and I still don't, but I was going to read it out, and then I realized it made little sense. Time for the panel to come on there, people. Welcome back to the show, gents. I want to go to Sard first of all. You were asking midweek for a response. You got the response, a 5-0 win. A brace from Martinelli, a brace from Gabriel, in my opinion, as well. Talk to me.
Yeah, listen, I think scoreline is great. The fact that we beat them 5-0 was great. I Only thing for me, obviously, if I'm really nitpicking, I think. Listen, the first half we didn't look as good as I would have hoped. The front line still looked shaky. Martin Odegaard this game still invisible, and not playing to the level that I would have hoped Odegaard would play to, especially at home. But listen, Martinelli with the goals, coming out, scoring those goals, it's going to do wonders for his confidence. I'm hoping that he can push on now and be like, okay, yeah, let's continue scoring this goal. Let's continue going on this scoring way, and continue with this form. When it comes to Saka as well, I think another poor game from him. He was very predictable in that first half, and even in the second half at times also very predictable. Declan Rice looked off in that first half, but I think he recovered in the second half. And just overall from us, second half, it was a decent game. We come out, we looked a bit different. We looked like we had more energy. As soon as I think we had that third goal from Trossard, it changed. It's like the team changed and they became more confident. It's like as soon as we scored an open play goal, it literally changed. The whole team were like, okay, you know what? We've scored. We've got past that barrier. We've got over that wall. Let's continue our scoring form. But yeah, listen, I'm happy with the performance anyway. Just the first half was showing me a lot of deficiencies that we'd seen previously. But I'm hoping that we can go into this next game now, having scored this. And listen, we were waiting to score these goals. We were waiting to score these goals. I feel like the team were just missing too many chances. It was bound to happen. But yeah, I feel like it's a great result for us. A great result to keep us in this title race. I'm not saying we're going to win the title yet, but it still keeps us within firing range. And we needed them. We needed them to talk, to go into this game, and we need them to hit back, to play like, you know what, we are serious. We are taking this title serious. So listen, big up to the team. Big up to they played very well. Gabriel, amazing today as well. But big ups to the boys.
Nathan, did you echo that? Do you feel that Arsenal were back to looking serious today?
I wouldn't say serious, to be honest with you. I think it was a professional performance. But for me, there's still more questions than answers, if I'm to be completely honest with you. I felt like we scored, if you break down the game, we scored 2 goals on the break, and we scored 3 goals on the break and 2 from set pieces. So in terms of actual creating chances from open play, for me, we're still not where we need to be. And it's still the same question in regards to that. In terms of the result, after the run of results we've been on, it's the most important thing. So we needed 3 points. But looking at the game as a whole, especially in particular that first half, I didn't think we created many chances from open play. And that has been a worry for us this entire season. We've been talking about it week after week. And we're halfway through this season. For me, that's still either that or a lack of clinical edge in front of goal that have been the 2 major stumbling blocks for us this season. So I'm not there to say, I say it's a step in the right direction after the way results have gone recently, but I wouldn't say that we're looking like we're definitely heading in the right direction as of yet. For me, performances are I look at performances as the most sustainable things I can draw from. So I see more performances that are more definitive, right, and more complete. I can take more from that as opposed to performances where I'm still asking a lot of questions.
Do you echo that, Brandon? Do you still have more questions and answers after this game? I mean, a 5-0 win, a lot of rivals are going to say, how are questions still being asked? What's your take on it, mate?
I think he's right in the sense that, we still have problems in terms of open play, creating chances and actually finishing from open play. But today, I wouldn't sit here and say it's an impressive performance because we know these players are definitely capable of that. But it was 100 million times better than anything we've seen so far this season from Arsenal, in the league especially. We moved the ball really quickly, which is something that, I think we've really lacked so far this season. In transition, we've been really slow, really lethargic. And I'm going to sit and say, do you know what? Mikel Arteta gets huge praise for today because it seems to me like he's let the shackles off a little bit. You know, these players were playing, I would say, within themselves all season this season. Whereas, you know, today you're seeing the free-flowing football again. You're seeing, you know, people like Zinchenko breaking lines with passes. We're not just playing it short all the time. Quick 1-2 touches, you know, maximum on the ball. And it made a difference. It made a difference. It caused some huge problems to Crystal Palace. And yeah, you know, we scored the 2 goals from set pieces, and we can't be reliant on, you know, winning games from set pieces week in, week out. But, you know, we created the problems that caused them to give away them set pieces, if that makes sense. So, you know, I think from that aspect, I think the performance today was so much better. And it was a breath of fresh air as well to see Mikel Arteta go, do you know what? We're 3-0 up. It's time to bring on Smith Rowe. It's time to bring on Martinelli, you know, a handful of players that don't really get to play too many minutes at Arsenal, and try and get the confidence up within these players. And again, you know, if you go over the past few weeks, you're looking at the players on the pitch and you're trying to point out who's actually playing well for Arsenal. You know, there's not many players playing well for Arsenal. I think every single player on the pitch today did their job. They worked really hard for each other. And there was elements to that, you know, that we saw from Arsenal last season. You know, the way that we played, and, you know, the way that we worked hard for each other. Even when the substitutes came on, there wasn't really a massive drop. Can we go on and replicate that? I think that's what the question is. You know, we need to replicate that week in, week out now for the remainder of the season to have a chance of winning this league. And up until today, I've got to be honest with you, Tel, looking at the way that we was performing, I didn't think we was in a title race. You know, I thought top 4 is the best that we could hope for, because, you know, the performances were telling me that we're not ready for a title race this season. We don't look like we can actually go on and compete with Liverpool and Manchester City. If we can play like we did today for the remainder of the season, I think I'll change my mind a little bit, because we know these players are capable of this. It's just a case of the manager had to let the shackles off, and he's let the shackles off, and now it's up to the players to do the business. But yeah, I mean, we definitely still need a striker. I don't think we're going to get that in this window, let's be honest. So now it's up to them players to step up and do the business. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah, look, do you know what's really interesting for me? You said something that stood out to me. The biggest thing was Arteta has let the shackles off. You've been on every single Arsenal match reaction I've done this year, I think, Bran, and I know Sard's been on a few, Nathan. Something I've said all year that I still feel to be true. I believe there's been an element, not every game, but there's been an element this season of you're not playing at 100 miles an hour, not playing at full speed, so that you have energy left in your legs in the second half of the season. This is typically how titles have been won forever. So it's going to be intriguing to see whether the energy you demonstrated today is going to be there in large part for the second half of the season, because I felt in the last 5, 6, 7 games last year, you died. I think your legs went, Saka's legs went, and multiple other players did. If you've still got your legs towards the end now, it's going to be very intriguing to see. So I get where you're coming from when you say that.
Maybe as well, though, Tel, fatigue maybe plays, you know, a little bit of a part in it, because I see a team that looked refreshed today. You know, we've had that 2-week break over in Dubai, and I see a team that looked fresh and ready to go, you know, but you got to remember, Arteta doesn't tend to rotate these players very often at all, you know, and if he does, he's bringing them on in the 80th minute or, you know, the 85th minute or something stupid like that. So these players have played a lot of football. Champions League, you can't really afford to rotate too much. So, you know, maybe that 2-week break has done them good. But again, you know, we have to see this week in, week out now. We have to.
I actually got a question. Sorry, Tim. I was just going to ask everybody, because I thought Trossard had a pretty good game today, scored a good goal on the counter. But then Martinelli came on in his position and did a really good job, especially when Smith came on. Who do you guys think will start next game for Arsenal? I think it's Forest away in like 10 days. Who do you think is going to start on the left, and who deserves it? Trossard or Martinelli?
I got to start first on that. What would you say because both, great question, because both impacted the game hugely today.
I think Listen, Trossard did have a good second half. First half, he was invisible. If I'm being completely honest, first half he was invisible. He wasn't getting involved as much as I would have hoped. But that's when you're next to Havertz, I expect that the left wing doesn't really get much service. But if I was to start somebody, I probably want to start Martinelli just because scoring 2 goals and with how much confidence he's going to have in him, I think he deserves to start. He actually came on and he put away both chances that he got. Do you know what I mean? You may say they're on a plate, but he still had to put them away and put them in the back of the net, and he's managed to do that for me. So I would say Martinelli out of the 2. But the thing is with Trossard, I always like him centrally. I don't like him on the wing because I feel like he's so clinical. So I want him central. I don't want him
slow as well. Yeah.
Can I say I disagree? I disagree a little bit. I think you have to start Martinelli because he scored 2 goals, and the confidence is going to be back in him again, hopefully. And we know that when Martinelli is firing with Trossard, not Trossard, sorry, with Jesus and Saka, that's our most potent front 3. But what I liked about Trossard today, which Martinelli hasn't offered us at all this season, is last season we did so well in the front 3 because we was very interchangeable. You wasn't just seeing Saka out wide all the time, Jesus in the middle all the time, and Martinelli out wide all the time. That's what we've seen from Arsenal so far this season. It's been very rigid. Whereas as Trossard today, he was picking up central areas. He was out wide at times. He allowed Jesus to move out wide at times. We're very interchangeable today, and I think that's why the front 3 worked better than what it has done for the majority of this season. I mean, you guys might disagree, but that's what I saw today.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the added benefits of having Martinelli on the bench is when we need something different, he offers us some pace. I think I've never really been a big fan of the Trossard signing because I felt like it was in stark contrast to the profile that we originally wanted. And when he's asked to play as a left winger, he's not an outlet in the same way. And he's been asked to do things in the same way of Martinelli, but physically he's not capable of that. So for me, one of the nice things is that today Trossard played 60, 65 minutes, and then Martinelli comes on, and you've got that directness and that pace to kind of expose tight legs, which is an added benefit. So in that regard,
that's a good comment, by the way, the one you just pulled up, Terry, about the fact that opposition, because Palace, I mean, they were not very good today at all. They man-marked Eze because that's their only real threat going forward, like the ball carrier or whatever. They marked him out the game for the most part. Had some nice moves every once in a while, but, I mean, if you think about Palace weren't even looking good, and then they looked tired, and then Martinelli came on in the transition, boom. So that's a good point.
Yeah. Do you know what? I look at it this way. I think Martinelli, get the calls, he got a brace. Partly, though, the reason he got a brace is because of the foundation that Trossard and others had built before he came on. They made it 3-0.
Circumstance.
Which meant, so it meant, if it was, I'm not saying he wouldn't have come on and scored a winner, but if it was 1-1 when he came on, would there have been that space to score those goals? And atypically, when a team wins 4-5, 6-0, it's because they're already 3-0 up. The opposition attack more, and there's more space to go into. So I think Trossard deserves the starting berth again because he was part of that core team that won that game, as an example. But I think it creates great competition. So if they both start performing, they both start scoring, that's music. There should be music to every single Arsenal fan's ears. I suppose the only dampener today was that you didn't see Saka maybe get on the score sheet and show a little bit. Well, I didn't think he had I didn't think he had a bad game today. I didn't think he had a brilliant game today, as an example. Well, he should have an assist, really.
Same old story, Tel. It's the same old story. He's too predictable.
Yeah,
anytime he
really
gets the ball, he does the exact same thing. Let me go on my left foot. Okay, I'm gonna try and go to the left. If I don't, let me wait and show exactly what I'm gonna do by going onto my right. You need to be quick and you need to be strong and you need to try and take on your man. He doesn't do that enough. When he does, it's too predictable.
Yeah, I do get what you're saying there. Not a stat someone just thrown to me. So Terry, talk about art. I know you guys, the Arsenal fans, want to score more goals, and I get you want more goals. I understand it. But you've got 42 goals. Liverpool top of the league with 43. Spurs have 44. Villa have 43. City do have more. They've got 48. Like, nobody has it's not like everyone's got sort of 55 goals and you're sitting on 35. What? But I know 5 goals today is kind of bridge that gap as an example, but all it really takes is a few games to turn it around. I know you want another goal scorer. I just find it really interesting that you're on. Again, I'm probably reflecting here as a Man United fan. I'm like, how are you crying about 42 goals when my team's sitting 24? That's probably what's going through my head.
No, but you know what it is.
It's
Sorry,
the fact that a lot of them have come from set pieces in contrast to play. So when you're looking at sustainability in terms of you can get a good amount of goals from set pieces statistically throughout the season, but to expect them type of goals to be consistent throughout the whole season is probably not realistic, or it's probably not. It's kind of hard to believe in, right? Whereas if you're getting goals from open play as well as set pieces, then you kind of know that your team's capable of scoring from both.
You got
right?
a plan B. Something you can fall back on.
Yeah, no, I do get you on that. As you said, I was just looking at it here actually in terms of goals from open play this season. I don't think they just updated the ones you got today. You're currently sitting on 18, 12 set piece goals. Those, yeah. So I do get you. I do get where you're coming from with that. You want to increase that, but games like today are that because 3 of your goals were from open play today. I don't know. Do any of the goals today count as counters? I don't know. Do they?
They do. Yeah, the goalkeeper threw one over, and then the last 2 was almost on a break. Eddie Nketiah took the ball, played it into Martinelli, ran into open space. It wasn't like we broke down a low block. We passed through them. And that's where we've kind of struggled this season. If you look at the West Ham game, for instance.
I'll give you a mad stat, though. I'll give you a mad stat. Man City have not scored a counter-attack goal all season. That's crazy. You'd have thought they would have done at some point in relation to that. Let's go to some of these super chats here. Martinelli off the bench is amazing. Saka needs to be rotated ASAP. Saka needs to run more, a lot more crosses in this match. Again, maybe you play Martinelli on the left and you put Trossard on the right. I mean, maybe that's an option here as opposed to dropping one of those two. Maybe you do that. You have someone that like Trossard that can go on the outside, because there's a few times today where I think Saka had the chance to get the ball in and he cut back again. And I know he's not as bad as him, but he gives me Anthony vibes when he does that. It's like, bro, just cross the ball. Just cross it. Don't let your team set.
I think that's a great shout, Tel, because one of the other complaints that I have about Arteta is, when he's playing players when they're out of form, or he's benching players that are in form, and then wondering why they're not performing when he asks them to come in and do a job. Like, for example, at the beginning of the season, Trossard, especially in pre-season, he was easily our best player. And then it comes to the start of the season and he's on the bench and Martinelli's playing. So, yeah, that could be an option, definitely. Maybe it's time to give Saka a little bit of a rest. And while you've got 2 players that are performing, why not? Why not?
What about Andrew Smith Rowe? Because I thought he had a decent substitute. Even he didn't light the world on fire, but better than Havertz for me.
Much better than Havertz, yeah. I was going to say Smith Rowe is a breath of fresh air in that midfield because, oh my God, I can't be asked with this Havertz guy because he's like a non-entity in that midfield. Every time he gets the ball, he plays it safe. He plays it backwards. It's honestly like having 2 midfielders on the pitch. And I've had a problem with him the entire season because even I thought that Arteta had learned his lesson, like after the 1 win in 7 and the lack of chance creation, that he would just drop Havertz and just tell him to play for, if you want to play him, get him off the bench, play him up top, because that's for me where he's at his best. Smith Rowe, he's like the only player on our team that's able to receive in the middle of the pitch on the turn and drive in between the lines in space, because we don't have that ability to do that in our team. And he found and connected with Martinelli so many times, and it allowed Martinelli to get into the game much more. And yeah, I hope to God that he starts more, because just Havertz is just.
I think it's a great. I think it's a great shout. As I say, I don't think Havertz was bad today, but what did he do? What did he do in the game? Did he move the needle at all? It's almost a little bit of a passenger out there. This is please bring Kate on. She is talking a lot about Arsenal fans being deluded, and we was not in the title race, and how Spurs can finish above us. I have Kate's got the link. She's in the group chats. I've messaged her on WhatsApp asking her to come on. I don't know if Kate will, but she's more.
Kate is actually too funny, Tel. You know that. The fact that she called him fraud Teta, this fraud has done something your club and no manager at your club has been able to do for the last 15 years. Win an FA Cup. He's managed to do that when your manager.
They haven't won an FA Cup since the early 90s, bro. 30 years.
92 or
years.
something.
Hey, you done me because they're on the League Cup,
30
innit?
years, 30 years, brother. You know what I mean?
They've got like 3 trophies in like 20 years.
Studio Hooks here says,
Wow.
imagine Partey in this team. It could be magical.
Yeah.
How excited are you guys to get in Thomas Partey back into this team? Do you think he's going to have this impact?
Yeah, I was going to say just one thing. I'm starting to kind of, as good as Declan Rice is, he's starting to kind of. I've had an issue with him and his progression on the ball, because this thing that he does, it kind of annoys me. Every time he grabs the ball, instead of just playing a first time pass just quickly, he grabs the ball and he just starts to drive and carry to the person he wants to pass to, rather than just passing it like initially once he has the ball, and it kind of slows us down. As you saw when Jorginho came on the pitch, the tempo started to increase, because the tempo was quite slow beforehand. The tempo increased, we started to generate shots on target, and we were a lot better. Our fluidity in the midfield was a lot better. I don't really like this whole the Rice, Havertz, Odegaard midfield just in general. Partey in the midfield he'll increase our tempo and we'll just play a lot quicker and a lot more line breaking passes.
I think Partey can make a difference, but what I would say is don't get used to Thomas Partey being here at Arsenal, because I think he'll be gone in the summer. I genuinely do, and I think we're going to have to kind of move away from being reliant on Thomas Partey, because he's so injury prone anyway. He's getting older now. I don't think that he's going to be a long-term fix to that midfield. And I think we're going to have to get used to the whole Declan Rice element. And Arteta is going to have to find a way of, making it more free-flowing, even when you've got Declan Rice, who maybe doesn't progress the ball as well as Thomas Partey. So I think, yes, he could probably make a short impact for this season, but I think he'd be gone in the summer. I really do.
Yeah, you could be absolutely right. Gonner Sulz, my bro, long time no see, my friend. Hope you're well, man. What did you make of the result today? I saw you in the group chat saying football's easy, and I know you had a bit of banter when you're doing that, bro. But what did you make of your boys today?
Hey, look, they enjoyed the bye, and I said, look, the pressure's on you guys now, because if you're going to put these pictures out there with your families, with your friends, enjoying your life, especially in the mid-season where you're on the back of, 1 win in 7, you can't go enjoy Dubai and then come back and drop a stinker or a 1-0 or struggle to this Crystal Palace side where there's no Michael Elise, there's no Jordan Ayew, there's none of those players who always constantly causes issues. I needed to see a performance today, and that's what they gave us. I know a lot of people are going to sit there and go, we're papering over cracks, we're doing this, it wasn't a good performance. I actually don't care. I wanted to see goals. I wanted to see them actually put that ball in the back of the net, and they've done it 5 times. I can't ask for anything better. Set piece goal, another set piece goal, a transition goal, a goal that was actually played well, and then another goal to finish it off by your substitutions. And I can't sit here and criticize a part of this performance. Clean sheet. There was only one mistake where Raya, I don't really know what he was thinking, but he kind of went for this pass clearance to Lerma. That could have ended horribly, because I wanted a clean sheet. And as bad as Crystal Palace were, we did our job. We made our rivals, at least this weekend for Liverpool playing tomorrow, go, okay, they scored 5. If we can do this maybe 1 or 2 more times, that's going to really make Man City think, that's going to make Liverpool think that, okay, that they might be making that charge at the end of the season that we see the likes of Man City make, that we've seen Liverpool do. And that's what we need to do. We need to start getting our rivals, or at least Liverpool and Man City, to start doubting themselves when they're playing these games. That goal difference is going to matter, that points are going to matter, that they can't drop points, because we're putting the runs together now as well. Man City, we know, don't lose many games. We need to match that. We need to put the pressure on both of them and go, you drop points, we're right there. And that's what we did today. These are the performances against the Crystal Palace, against the Nottingham Forest, against those sort of mid-table to lower-table teams that we need to be putting our absolute throat to. I'm glad after 1-0, we stepped up the pressure. When it went to 2-0, we stepped up even more. 3-0, we stepped it even more. And the fact that Arteta said, you know what, I'm not going to go 5 back. I'm not going to sit here and observe this clean sheet. He brought Emile Smith-Rowe on. He brought Martinelli on. Then he goes, you know what, I'm going to bring Nketiah on, and I'm going to keep going attacking. The 2 substitutions were by force in terms of bringing Jorginho on and bringing Kiwior on. They were due to injuries. But other than that, he wanted to go for this game. And that's what I need to see more of. I think this was Arteta's smartest game plan other than Man City. He saw that Martinelli could not play this game. They're going to come into this low block. I need technical players. He brought on the likes of Trossard to play that game. Jesus, whether it was a risk or not, that's what we need to see. I need Arteta to be flexible. And today was the first time he trusted his squad and they paid him dividends. So I have no complaints today.
Just on Jesus as well. Did you see how many times he got caught offside today? When have we ever seen Gabriel Jesus getting caught offside for Arsenal? He's normally in midfield. So that just shows as well how much Arteta's let the shackles off, because we've got our striker, our number 9, now playing on the last man, trying to catch them, out. And it allows us to be able to move the ball quicker and play balls over the top.
To be a nerd, you could say it's a creative focal point, not like a target man does as a focal point. It's a creative one because he can shift side.
All right, tactical.
I'm American too.
It's why I pulled the whiteboard out, bro.
I want to ask a question of you gooners on the panel, and of course Steve and everybody watching. What is Standard FC going to say about this? Because what they said after the last Premier League game is performances don't matter. It's all about winning. So surely now, today at least, there'll be no complaints from Standard FC, because they said that performances are not what sustainability comes from. It's all about winning. So it is. I'm not saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Surely all of them on their Twitter accounts, their Insta accounts, if they're content creators, surely they're all going to be buzzing today. Because winning 5-0, when all that matters is winning, means there's zero to complain about. Or am I wrong? Based on their look.
They'll be saying that it's simple. You should be beating Crystal Palace. That's exactly what somebody will say. They will say, "Oh, you should be beating Crystal Palace. Why should I give them credit for beating Crystal Palace?"
To be honest with you, right? People will say I'm probably part of Standard FC or whatever. I don't think anybody should have nobody should have any complaints about today. What they should be saying though is we need to replicate this throughout the rest of the season, because let's be real, right? If it was all about winning and performances didn't matter, when you look at the performances this season, I don't think anybody could sit here and say the performances that we were putting out before today were a sustainable way of winning so that we could go on and win a league title. Whereas as the performances that we were putting together last season give you more hope that we could go on and win the league, because we was blowing teams out of the water. And that's exactly what we did today. We replicated similar to what we did last season. And if we can keep doing that and keep beating teams in that sort of way, I don't see any reason why we should be complaining at all.
Yeah, obviously my comment is very sarcastic, okay? Because for me, winning is hugely important in sport. But equally, I think you build long-term winning on the back of consistency in performances. So they're both important. What I found mad 2 weeks ago is that for 3 years, all I've heard that sort of football fans say is winning without a good performance is not sustainable. And suddenly for Arsenal, you were pretty good in some of your defeats recently, but you just didn't score, and then you got caught out. Suddenly, winning is all that matters. Performances are irrelevant. And I couldn't believe the U-turn that I'd seen from people for over the years. So, of course, there's still going to be frustrations from them today, because in reality, they know it isn't just about winning each individual game, because to be able to do that, there has to be a sustainable performance. We all understand that, but people pick and choose when they want to spout it, because, of course, agendas have got an agenda, I suppose. But yeah, I just thought it's funny, really. It only came up today because my dog trainer doesn't watch football that much, but she's thinking of launching a YouTube channel. I told her I did YouTube. She's been watching my channel. She brought it up. But I don't understand that. I've watched some of your streams and they say this, but then people say that. How does this work? I said, that's your football fans for you.
Yeah,
We're mental.
Fans is short for fanatic.
So a non-football fan been watching some of my content and was like, I didn't understand how 1 minute somebody says this, the next minute they say that. I burst out laughing. She's like, what? I said, I'm actually so amazed that you've actually noticed that. So yeah, people see it. It's crazy to me. It's so funny. We have some more super chats here. This is an interesting one. It says, no difference between this game and West Ham or Liverpool game. It's all about scoring goals.
Right.
No, because Brandon brought up a few things. Number one was the fact that, again, Jesus was getting offside a lot, and we haven't noticed him get offside a lot. That was the difference. Ben White was overlapping a bit more, probably more in the first half. That was something also that was kind of different. I didn't see that in those games he mentioned. Zinchenko was a bit better, not amazing. So there were some differences for me.
One touch, two touch football. We was moving the ball quickly. It wasn't slow and lethargic in transition. There was loads
Gabriel,
of
the center back, was bombing up the pitch a lot in that first half.
There was loads of differences to today's performance compared to
I might be in the minority then, because I wasn't blown away by that performance, to be fair with you.
I wasn't either.
I'm ecstatic by the result, right? We got the 5 goals, we got the W, but I still see the same issues that have been plaguing this team since the beginning of the season and what I've been criticising. So, right, and I'm not part of Standard FC or I don't subscribe to their thinking, right? But I'm just saying, for me, I've always talked about performances and building on that. And for me, if you look at that first half in particular, from open play, we created almost nothing from open play, right? And that has been one of the biggest issues this season. Whether Jesus is on the last man or not, we still didn't do anything, right? And had we not scored from open, had we not been as clinical as we are from set pieces, how would we fare if the game was still?
Yeah, but that's it. But the maybe the fact is we did score 2 goals from set pieces. You can't take away goals from them. That's like saying, oh, we won a penalty, so we scored the penalty. That's the only reason we then gone and done.
About the whole overall performances, though, right? So we're isolating aspects of the performance. So you're talking about the actual corners, and yes, we've done well to score from them, but we could also look at how we attack outside of corners from open play and judge that fairly as well, right? And we could say how we attacked from open play wasn't good enough or at a standard of where we've seen in comparison to last year. Because last year we were very fluid, we were very direct, right? And the way in which we moved the ball forward, right, created teams a lot of problems. This year, we don't have that level of threat. And it's been like that since the beginning of the season.
I'll explain
that. I
well.
agree.
So the reason why that's happened is last season we weren't the threat we are. No one thought we were going to be title challengers. No one thought we'd be free flowing and scoring. What was it, like a record breaking season in the Premier League? Now teams have caught on to that. Teams are now starting to respect us more, and they're starting to play low blocks. That is going to bring a different challenge. That's going to bring a different way of playing. And to break those low blocks, there's one of 2 things you can do. You can have technically gifted players who can weave in and out of tight spaces, don't do those quicker passes. You take out your Martinelli, you take out those players like Eddie and Nketiah, and you bring in the likes of Jesus, you bring in the likes of Trossard, you bring in the likes of even Emil Smith-Rowe, those type of Fabio Vieira type players who can actually break those low blocks. Arteta, or maybe not, by fortune, we scored that set piece, which then allowed us to open Crystal Palace up because they had to come and attack us. And once they started attacking us, you're seeing the old Arsenal. You started seeing us free-flowing. You started to see us create more chances. You started to see us play on the transition. That's what we need to do more of. We need to attack these teams in the first 10 to 15 minutes and open them up. Even if you look at Man City against these low blocks struggle as well. Look at Crystal Palace last season, 2-2. So a lot of teams who played this model are going to struggle to low blocks until they bring those players in that can actually break them down, that can do those quick transition passes. This is where I'd say we needed a Thomas Partey more than we needed a Declan Rice, or we needed a Jorginho type player more than we needed a Declan Rice. But that's what's going to happen. We're respected as much as that's the hardest concept for us to grasp is teams are afraid of us. They know what we can do if they attack us. Crystal Palace seen it in the second half. As soon as they attacked us, we scored 3 goals.
Although I agree with you in regards to Thomas Partey, if you look at even like Liverpool, but how quick they move that ball forward, or how vertical they are with their passing, it's not about. We've adopted the Man City model this year, where we pass it side to side. We don't actually, when there's actually space to go forward, a lot of the times we keep possession and we build up slowly. And it's the reason why Terry earlier said they haven't scored any counter-attacking goals. Well, that doesn't surprise me, because when you watch City, right, their whole philosophy is about keeping that ball and pinning teams in and then creating chance after chance, right? But for us this season, last season, what I enjoyed about us is that we mix both what City do well and what Liverpool do well in terms of being very vertical, very direct. Now we've lost that aspect of our football this season, and that is what I'm criticizing, because that was one of the reasons that made us, go up to Anfield or even at the Emirates do well against Liverpool. How direct we were. We weren't tippy tapping it around and then slowly breaking teams down. So there can be a balance.
Anyone else here think? Sorry, I was just going to ask this also. Anyone else think Palace are in real trouble here in terms of relegation?
They very well could be. The problem that they have this year is there's a couple of teams that are worse than them in the sense of Burnley, Sheffield United. Luton obviously play well. We've got to wait and see what happens with the points deductions as well for Forest and Everton, but they're definitely being sucked into that category now. There's no doubt about it. We have some more super chats here I want to look at. First one says, our set pieces have been consistent all season, though. If we are good at them, not sure how that's a complaint. It's one of our strengths. Play to it. I view it this way. I think it's right to say I want more goals from open play, but not criticize the penalties. So Bruno Fernandes got a lot of this from Man United fans. Oh, but penalties, though. Great. I like the fact he's scoring penalties. Just let's get more open play goals as a team as well, but let's keep the penalties. So if you can keep this level of set piece goals and add one extra open play goal per game on average, you've got a great chance of winning this title. I'm telling you, if you increase it by that level.
How many open play goals do we have? How many open plays goals
18,
do we have?
18. The best in the league is City with 35. So that's what I'm saying. If you'd have scored one more per game over the course of this season, you'd actually have more than them. So, 0.8 more per game, and you guys are cooking. Studio Hooks here says, angry Arsenal Alliance is still out. So they will. Listen, Arsenal fans can all believe and say what they want. Half of the reason we do what we do as a job is fun, is the differences of opinions. It's only when it gets personal do I have a problem with it, because it's just a football opinion. It isn't that serious. You're right. You're right. Got son of goals. Different games call for different players. We need Trossard and Jesus for every low block team we face from now on, is what Robert's got to say. Mm-hmm. People moan about Odegaard, but he starts most presses.
I mean,
he starts
Odegaard. Sorry, go on.
No. All I was going to say is he starts most presses, but when he gets in front of goal, he makes wrong decisions. He doesn't shoot when he has to shoot. He doesn't pass when he has to pass. So it's okay to criticize players, even when we have a great victory like this. Yeah, we scored 5 goals. It's amazing, but you can't then go and completely look at the result in isolation and just be like, oh my God, yeah, we won 5-0, but not look at certain things that may become a problem later down the line. Odegaard is still disappearing in games. Yes, he might start off the press, but what does he do after that? Does he retrieve the ball? Does he ask for the ball? Does he move it forward? Does he pass it? Create a counter attack? Do you know what I mean? So
there's a good saying as well. Sorry,
I do disagree.
Odegaard's such an important cog in this team as well. If you notice, when Odegaard has a poor performance, 9 times out of 10, Arsenal don't perform very well either. Like today, you see the energy from him. He was pressing from the front. His little passes, his short passing, his long passing was very good. 9 times out of 10, when Odegaard performs well, Arsenal perform well. So he needs to be more consistent as well. But,
I also do think that he kind of has a graveyard shift in that, because he's not playing with like a natural 8 next to him in Havertz. In that he's basically having to do everything. He's having to do everything in the final third. All the creative burdens on him, and he has to drop deep and get the ball from Rice. And he's having to go back and forth. Where last season, he was a lot more, he had less creative burden. He had Granit Xhaka next to him, who had to do that job for him, and who helped a lot out. Yeah, helped out a lot. Yeah.
I hear you. Touchline Towel says it's fans like Sard why Arsenal struggle to progress. Your football takes are shocking. Typical Twitter fan, big man nitpicking for no reason. The 20 years with no title ain't on Arteta. It's on the club.
You could call it nitpicking.
Who blamed Arteta?
You've been done there, Star. You've been done, bro.
You got
Bro,
body.
I'm so hurt, bro. I'm on the
Body.
floor, bro. I'm on the floor, bro. He knocked
I
me out.
don't know if this
That was a
guy's
class
only
goal.
watched. I don't know if this guy's only watched Sard once, because as far as I'm aware, Arteta's Sard's guy.
Bro, I've been Arteta in. I've been Arteta in when I was getting pressured, bro.
There's a rumor that
Yeah,
Sard was the guy that was holding the meat. There's a rumor.
Hey, you're such a fraud. Hey, Terry, after top 6 show, I don't want you to mention the meat anymore because that was crazy.
I got sent a video about you in the meat, though. I'm going to play it on another show that you're on soon. But listen, isn't it amazing how that offended a lot of people? Now suddenly, right now, no one cares about him being fed meat by Salt Bay. It's all everyone's. That's fine. Do it more. If you win games, no one cares what you do. Emil Smith-Rowe should start more, and Rice is a huge miss for Arsenal.
He's injured.
He said, you see in mouth, it says Mohamed, you guys don't play for another 10 days now. Rice will be back. Rice is one of those players that he could break a leg and it would heal in a week. Like, he's one of those people, he'll put a plaster on it. It'll be all right. Any changes for the lineup for the Nottingham Forest game? Would you make any changes to the lineup, Souls, or would you go with the same 11?
Oh, it's a tough one. I mean, I want to put Emil Smith-Rowe in Havertz's position just because of how positive of an impact he made. But again, I'm not in the medical team. I'm not in the backroom staff, so I don't know how fit he actually is. If Thomas Partey's back, I'd maybe like to see him play. But other than that, I don't think anything needs to change. Maybe Martinelli coming in, because Nottingham Forest aren't, especially against us in the last sort of few games, they haven't actually sat back against us. So Martinelli could come in and make a positive impact in a game against Nottingham Forest. They're probably the only 3 considerations I've got, unless there's any major injuries.
I think Gabriel will be fit. Is he? Because he came off quite early. I mean, he came off with an injury, so
yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it'll end up being a bit like Rice. It'll probably just be precautionary, you would think, and whatever else.
They actually said to carry on playing, but they took him off anyway. They said
he signalled impact when he came off.
Yeah.
He was kept signalling impact to Arteta, so I don't think it's anything major. It was as if I think it was a clash with Mateta on the halfway line. So I think he'll be all right.
Black Pearl here says we probably saw the end of Roy. Yeah, look, Roy should never have come out of retirement. You know, I feel bad for him. It's like watching.
Is that why Graham Potter was at the game?
Yeah, look, listen, there's 2 things here. I want Graham Potter to become the Palace manager because I think at a club like that, it'll make them play really good football. Secondly, if he goes there, it means it's unlikely he's becoming our new manager. So please go Palace. That would be really good.
It would be. It's like the Poch thing, right? Because Palace and Brighton have that derby. That what is it, M62 or something? That no one ever thinks about that. So when the Palace fans like it, they're already pissed off. And so you're bringing in Graham Potter. I don't know if that would be. Steve Parrish would probably be dumb enough to do that.
No, do you know what? Like, I get you that there is that connection, but at the same time, it can go the other way because if you, for instance, start to deliver, then suddenly you're in a position where you can. It's funnier because imagine like right now, a lot of Man United fans wouldn't want to take. It's the M23 is the motorway, by the way. It's right by where I live. If Jurgen Klopp joined Man United right now, there's a lot of United fans that would say, you know, Liverpool scum, we don't want him. But if he started winning more with us than he did with them, it'd become hilarious.
Yes.
So it could work.
You guys need Mourinho back, I think.
Man United.
No, that's mine. Give me Mourinho. Give me Mourinho. I've been advocating.
Serious, right? Because Mourinho will clear out the shit at Man United. And
he had the opportunity, but he wasn't allowed. He
ain't got Paul Pogba there to blame anymore. So he's
but he has Luke Shaw. That's the problem.
Oh God! No, listen, I understand your logic. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want him anywhere near my club. Arsenal still clear. Something is missing. Centre forward. Would you all agree with that?
Yeah,
we definitely need a plan B. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree, but I don't think we were missing a centre forward today. Because I don't think that was the issue today. Because we were actually quite clinical, considering we didn't really create a lot from open play, at least. So,
in different games against against teams that aren't as poor as Palace are, you're gonna need someone up front. I keep saying Jonathan David because he can do. He's not as good a footballer as not João Pedro. Gabriel Jesus. He's not as good as football, but he can link up. He's a good penalty taker, scores goals. That would be the guy, but he probably won't.
I think with the recent change, if you look at the recent change and with Gabriel Jesus obviously taking a more higher position in the pitch, sticking on the last man. You know what I mean? That's a definite positive, because we could see. I know we all laugh at Jesus. Oh, he can't finish. He said he wasn't a striker. Scoring goals isn't his great, his amazing thing. But if he does end up playing like this, and maybe this might be a change in his play style, he could start scoring goals for us. We could see a change in Gabriel Jesus. We've got to see how this turns out. If he keeps on doing this every game, he keeps on playing on the last man and trying to get in behind. I think we just have to see what happens, because I think this is definitely a good change. He was always, we're always complaining about him being in the midfield. This guy's going to have a conversation with Declan Rice.
Don't you think? I think with Jesus, the issue is that sometimes when he doesn't get the ball, and that's when he goes walking around because he wants to be involved in play. I think Jesus as a player, just having watched him, at City as well, when he's not involved in the game, that's when he doesn't have that discipline to kind of just stay up front like a Haaland, for instance. He will go searching for that ball.
I think that's when Arteta needs to get involved and be like, you know what? So you stay up front, yeah. When you feel like you're not getting the ball enough, maybe drop just a little bit. Just follow the line, because the line will drop if you're not getting the ball. If the ball's all the way in our half, the line is going to drop. Just stay with the guys, stay with the defensive line, and just wait for the ball to come to you. You don't have to. Let's try that out. Let's see how that goes for 2 to 3 games. Let's see how you react. Let's see how many chances you can get if you're sticking by the last man. That's when Arteta has to intervene for me and say, you know what, this is the tactic I want you to follow. This is what I want you to do. Can you do this for me, please? Thanks. And then that's when the manager has to get involved. If he wants to do something and the player can't be in control, the manager has to be in control. He's the gaffer.
Yeah, I hear you there. Robert here says we need a left centre midfielder and a right back. I think you need that as well. Ayo here says, are all Arsenal YouTubers moaning after 5-0? I'm going to say this, though. Generally, our most negative Arsenal fan is happy. And generally, our most positive Arsenal fan is a little bit in a mood. It's a very strange turn of events on the football terrace today. But listen, new year, new me. I like it, boysies. I like it. I really do.
It's called constructive criticism.
Of course, no, I get it.
I go by the saying, you should never. And I forget where I heard. Oh yeah, it was an NFL former executive. He said you should never accept anything in a win that you wouldn't in a loss. That's what it is, really. That's all it is. It's that basic. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I agree. Hang on a minute. Ooh, understand Bayern approached Newcastle for Kieran Trippier today. Talks have now started, but this is from Fabrizio. Bayern keep pushing for somebody else. I can't read that name from here, but no green light from PSG. Trippier already gave the green light to Bayern, so Trippier is asked to leave.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's Trippier, Dyer. Maybe they might come for Harry Maguire as well and have the whole England.
Mate, it's like a British invasion.
Toll's gonna drive him to the airport. Like, there you go.
Honestly, they can have Maguire and McTominay for 50 quid. They can have them both, bro. £50. 50. You know, this is how I negotiate. You know that you seen that meme of the guy goes into a sweet shop and he puts a Red Bull down and says £1 cough. That's it. That's how we negotiate. In fact, no, we should pay them. We'll pay you. We'll pay you to take them. This here from Act Fire says every time something sent balls into the center, the forwards had no hand on it. You need someone who could be making moves to get the ball like Gabriel. We used to have them on Reeve and Percy and Aubameyang. I think it means every time someone sent the balls. Yeah, look, you need that. But I think you had that more today with Jesus playing more in a 9 position, not dropping as deep, not being all over the pitch. I don't think it'll become more prolific. But yes, I think that's an absolute gamble.
That's why we need Ivan Toney. That's why we need Ivan Toney.
There's been a lot of Brentford loving the presentation into him returning today is crazy. I was a little bit like, I know he's returning, but man's been away for like breaking the rules. The man ain't been away like because of injury or
or like war duty or something.
Well, bro, did you guys see the tweet that they put out? The Mail. It looks like this guy's releasing an album, bro.
Hey, you never know. There might be some photos come out later of him getting fed meat by Salt Bay. You never know.
Oh my god,
Whoa.
They're in the corner.
You know what? Yeah, I saw a tweet about how it resembles like when Eric Cantona came back. The way they're trying to big it up, right? As if he's some iconic player that the Premier League's missed. I mean, you know, he's done 8 months.
Cantona's one was interesting because Cantona was despised for what he did. Ironically, if you kicked a racist now in the crowd, you'd get a knighthood. The way that back then it was like violence is violence. You can't do it. Now kicking racists is like fashionable. It's legal almost. Like you almost wouldn't get in trouble for it. I don't know. Man United might have got awarded points if we did it now. I don't know. It'd be very, very different. Instead, we lost him for a while. Boys, I want to thank you all for coming on. My super chatters, you're amazing. Everyone who smashed the like button, thank you. Please make sure you're subscribing to The Terrace. Turn on the bell notifications as well. It's good to see so many gooners back in the comments. I'll be honest with you. I ain't seen you, man, for like 3 weeks. Where you been? Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again.